Man, that AEW roster just keeps growing and growing.
What up, Mox?
Guys, AEW Dynamite tonight, Road Rager live from Miami, their first traveling event with full-on fans. They've had fans in the Daly's place, but now they're traveling and started. The traveling circus has restarted its course, and they're back on the road. And tonight we got an interesting show with a lot of surprises and some interesting stuff that went down, with the first match of the night being Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall in a South Beach strap match, because we needed this to happen, even though Cody has beat number one guy in the factory, QT Marshall, and he's beat number two guy, Anthony Ogogo. Then he's beat the team of them. So what do you go from here? We get a strap match. What was the point of it? I don't know. It was what it was. In the end, Cody gets the win, and that's pretty much it. We did have the lights cut off for a little bit, seemingly like there were some type of technical issues, but we all knew how that ended up being later on in the show.
Why do we need the third strap match in AEW history 18 months in? Like, enough with the strap matches. We've had a bunch of them. Like, there's just no need to have this many strap matches. It's an okay idea. It's not the greatest, and there's maybe wait every once 4 years. Like, make it like a World Cup or Olympics. Just like one every 4 years. Like, there's been 3 in 18 months. Like, this is unnecessary.
Well, I mean, too, is like, this didn't even warrant a strap match. He beat them already, like, both in singles. Like I said, he beat the number one guy, the head of the factory, and the second in command, Anthony Ogogo. So what was the point of this?
And if you're gonna do it, just why a strap match, man? We've seen them put a cage match or like a ladder match. I don't know, something hardcore match, false count anywhere match, last man standing. Yes. Just why is another strap match? They're not that good. They're just so limited in what you can do. Yeah. What you've seen them for the last. There's a third one, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I know. So he had a dog collar match and the strap match here. So, yeah, it didn't need to happen. It's just a match that they wanted to have, because obviously QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes best friends, and they wanted to get this match out there, be the first people out there with, in the first show of the traveling circus being back on the road. Next thing on the show, we had another Tony Schiavone and Kenny Omega interview. Now, again, obviously, Tony Schiavone doesn't really interview anybody. He just kind of gets the mic taken away from him, and then that's pretty much it. So that's what we got there. Then Don Callis and Kenny Omega will talk about how they've beaten everybody. There's nobody else to beat. Obviously, that happened last week as well. Here comes the Evil Uno, comes out and says, why are you, you don't want to acknowledge my guy, my friend, who's the number one contender. So Dark Order comes out. They get attacked by Gallows, Anderson, Nakazawa. They're beating them down. Here comes Hangman Page. He gets in the ring, beats everybody down.
There's the Cowboy himself. And JR, I think business has picked up. I believe you're right. Because this is some legitimate cow.
And kind of has a face-to-face with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega hightails it out of there. So this is where we're headed. Kenny versus Hangman, I believe, at All Out in August or early September.
Yeah, good segment, getting me excited. This is a match we've all wanted to see for a long time. It made the most sense. They've had the history. They were the best tag team ever in AEW. They broke up. There was always like that little rift between them. It just always made sense it was going to come back to this. So I'm loving the booking. Shout out to Kenny Omega's look right now. He looks amazing. He looks like an 80s hairband. Like, just, I don't know. It looks ridiculous. I just love how ridiculous he looked. It just works so well. Yeah, this is the best thing going in AEW. I don't care what anybody says. This is the best part. I'm excited. And I don't know if he's going to drop the belt, but it feels like Hangman that could be Hangman's day. It has that feeling. I think Kenny's had it for a long time now, and he has enough belts. But this could be the crowning moment for Hangman.
Yeah, he said that he has enough belts, but he only wore one of them this entire time during this whole promo. Yeah. Now it's a big show. Come out with all the belts. Have Don Callis hold a couple of them for you. Just acknowledge the fact that you will have all these titles on your flagship show of AEW. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Obviously, I've gone into a million rants about this, but what's one more? Have the titles with you. Just have at least one, maybe the TNA or the Impact. Have something else with you out there, rather than, it just seems like you really only have that one title. Because if you don't watch any of the other shows, you're kind of just like, oh, I guess he only has that one title, right? Unless you're in the know, right? And you've been following all that stuff. Makes no sense whatsoever. But after this, we get a Ethan Page, Darby Allin promo with Jim Ross in the back talking about their coffin match going to happen at Fyter Fest night 1. Solid promo from Ethan Page talking about how he plucked this guy from obscurity. Darby Allin gave him a start in wrestling, brought him up to the ranks of wrestling, all that stuff like that. So solid stuff from those guys, especially Ethan Page here. Funny how Scorpio Sky gets the short end of the stick here, and it's Ethan Page getting the shot against Darby, and I guess whatever. I don't know. It sucks for Scorpio, but he's another disappearing man in AEW. Next thing on the show, Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. We have a 6-man tag here with the Pinnacle taking on the Inner Circle with Conan out there and Tully Blanchard out for the Pinnacle. In the end, the Pinnacle get the win. It was a solid match. Not much here. You had a chop block at the end from Tully Blanchard on Conan. Conan sold it pretty hilariously. It seemed like he got shot in the leg. And that was pretty much it. So I mean, it's an ongoing thing. The Pinnacle and Inner Circle, and it's not going to stop because previous to this, we saw Shawn Spears cutting a promo back on Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara would throw a chair at his head and just tell him basically it's not over by a long shot. So we all know that all these feuds are going to continue, and we get more of this after this.
Yeah, I mean, I think All Out's going to be the climax for this feud. I think they're going to keep pushing it, and it's still good. It's still interesting. The matches are still fun. At first it was kind of weird with all the stipulations. Like they kept getting bigger and bigger, and they're still going on. But I don't know. I mean, what else are they going to do? There's not, these are like the two hottest stables in the land of stables, and and everybody else is way behind them. So yeah, I mean, keep it going. It's still fun. I'm still having a good time with it.
Yeah, definitely. It's still fun. I mean, there's two good stables. It's interesting because Jericho had to talk about the Hurt Business, right? Recently, he said that, in AEW, they've been together so long, in a circle over 2 years. If it was in WWE, 3 months in, they would have got broken up. Just look at the Hurt Business and how they tear apart that group when it was good. And then everybody's just kind of gone and you just have one guy left that's actually doing something. It makes a ton of sense. Now, AEW has a problem with too many factions, but the factions that they have that are good, it's good that they've been around for this amount of time. They have longevity. They have a lot of stuff built into them. People invested their time into them. Which we get to the next thing: Chris Jericho versus and MJF and their showdown in the ring. Talking about the match that they're going to end up having. It's a contract signing. Interesting. Chris Jericho's making his entrance. MJF's in the ring. A fan gets involved and tries to attack MJF. Chris Jericho gets physical with him. They escort the fan out, and they actually acknowledge it, which is interesting because they normally don't do that in sporting events. They don't do it in WWE. But MJF acknowledges, and so does Chris Jericho, about the fan trying to attack, MJF. So that's what we get. Yeah, exactly. That's what we get. And then here we get that MJF challenges Jericho to the trials of Jericho. So they go delve deep into Greek mythology here. And that's the kind of thing they go with here. And the way it works is he will have to beat 4 opponents of MJF's choosing, and only if he can defeat them consecutively, he'll get the match against MJF. So in passionate promo, obviously you're going to get one from Chris Jericho and MJF. So solid stuff at the end. In the end, Chris Jericho accepts the handshake of MJF, holds onto the hand, brings him back in, Judas effect, and that was the end of that segment.
I thought it was a great segment. I love the part where Jericho's gonna bang his mom again. Yes. I thought that was fun. I like the fact that he was hyping up Plainview, Long Island. All that stuff was good. The beating up the fan, I love that. That was weird, but the guy's an asshole. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I do like this whole thing they're doing with this whole kind of Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon, where it has to be a tournament. He has to get to every level until he reaches the final boss. I think that's cool. That's something I can't remember recently ever happened. I mean, it's always been like maybe the Austin feud with Vince McMahon, where you get the corporation guys at him like that. But yeah, this has that type of feel. I'm digging it. I love it. Again, like we said earlier, the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. This is hot. It's still good. It's the second best thing next to Hangman and Kenny. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's still entertaining. The promos are still good. The hatred is still there. And think about how far it's been going on ever since they were having the crazy musical, and now where they've come, full circle with this. So let's see what Jericho. He's probably going to face more Pinnacle. That makes the most sense. I'm sure it's going to be that crew, where he has to beat every, member of Pinnacle to get to the final boss. Easy storytelling. I'm liking it. Easy, simple. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun stuff. And then at least to the next thing on the show, which we're going to get to some interesting stuff here. So we have Matt Sydal versus Andrade El Idolo in his first match in AEW. Mm-hmm. Now, I marked out for the fact that he came out dressed as Black Mask.
One of the most highly anticipated debuts in AEW in quite some time. Andrade.
From DC Comics. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Added a little bit of flavor to it, but the crowd wasn't as hot for him for some reason. Didn't really seem like they were all there for Andrade. The match was what it was, just way to showcase Andrade. I don't like how he's with Vicky Guerrero. I mean, it's just because she's so comedic, and I think it takes away from it. Plus the whole Nyla Rose stuff that went down last week. It's just she doesn't need to be with him, but whatever. She's the one to introduce him, so she'll be out there with Vicky Guerrero. But we'll see. If it's just another guy added to an already bloated roster, and then it's another guy, a WWE guy, just recently released, and he's here. And it's a trend because we're gonna get another one. So I mean, it's I think that's why people are having a problem. Maybe he didn't get the reaction he probably would have got. I think it's just another WWE guy out there. Whether you're into that or you're not, you really care about that or you don't. But he's out there. Let's see where he ends up. I do think he's another guy who's going to get lost in the shuffle and not be there that consistently.
I mean, we'll see how they book it, but yeah, it's kind of got the vibes of when TNA was bringing in WCW guys or bringing in WWE guys like Christian, and then they would just destroy everybody in TNA. That's kind of what's sort of happening right now, where like a lot of the but again, AEW started with Chris Jericho as champion, so he's WWE, bred and he's one of the faces of the WWE. So I guess we could play both sides of the card there, but. I mean, these guys have name power. They have recognition. Again, these aren't the biggest guys that were on like on WWE. They weren't like champions. They weren't any of that. They were basically mid-card guys, and they kind of feel like they were in a big pond. It didn't work, and now they're in a smaller pond. Let's see how they do. Rusev, Miro has got away from the stupid best friends thing or best man thing, and now he's where he's always should have been, just booked as a monster. We'll see. I mean, again, lost in the shuffle. There's a lot of guys go in the Bermuda Triangle, go missing for months and months, and then come back. We'll see how they book this, but I'm just hoping for positive things right now. As wrestling fans, we get super negative, and hopefully this is something that we can get positive on, and we'll see what happens. Just see what happens. Maybe they'll surprise us.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he ends up, because he doesn't have a feud right now, so what does he go on from here? Now, we also have Christian versus Matt Hardy. Remember, it's just it's guys that are just, it's a bloated roster and former WWE guys. Now, leading into the next thing, we had Arn Anderson in the ring, have another interview with Tony Schiavone. He's talking about how Cody won a strap match and how Brock Anderson won his first match. And then the lights cut off. And when the lights come back on, there's a man standing in the ring, and this right here is the highlight of the night.
What a maneuver! What the? Oh my God! God Almighty! What a kick right to Arn Anderson's face! There's Cody.
Aleister Black, formerly Aleister Black, Tommy End, Malakai Black now is in AEW. He attacks Arn Anderson, then attacks Cody Rhodes, so seemingly his first feud in AEW will be against Cody Rhodes. Interestingly, though, did he not get a 90-day non-compete from WWE upon release?
And they really effed that one up.
Now, I'm going to save this one for the next segment, because we do have another segment we're debuting right after this one, but let's just talk really quick about how he came out. They said, Excalibur said, I wrestled this guy 15 years ago in Dusseldorf from Germany. There's Malakai Black, Tommy End. Use both names, right? Fine. He's here, a little bit of different look, looks like he has a bruised eye and cheek part, so we'll see how that goes down. But a massive reaction from him. Another guy, a bloated roster continues to bloat with another guy who seemingly will take on Cody Rhodes, and I have a feeling he's just going to disappear a little bit after he ends that feud with Cody Rhodes. But it's just another WWE guy, another released WWE guy in AEW.
Yeah, but this was a better entrance, I thought. This was something that was surprising, and it had the lights. It was more pageantry, and it felt pretty huge. And Aleister Black, let's face it, he didn't really work on the main roster at all. I can't remember one thing that was really interesting that he did on the main roster. He was big deal in NXT. Never really did anything in on the main roster, but this actually felt big. It actually felt good. It actually felt like something. Wow! It gave me old school vibes of seeing guys jump ship at WCW back to WWF back in the day. It gave me that vibe for a sec, and it was and compared to other guys that have shown up, this actually felt pretty huge. Just the fact that WWE basically said, we made a mistake by releasing you and we want you to come back. Those were those rumors. And the fact that he gave him a 90-day non-compete and he's just there literally a month after he was those failed promos, that comeback on SmackDown, it felt big. We'll see how they book him going forward. We're going to talk about it before, but it was definitely a good start. It definitely surprised me more, and it got me more excited than I thought I would have been.
Yeah, definitely. It was an exciting thing. It was hot. Now it's interesting. AEW would have Andrade have his match, and then right after have Malakai Black, Tommy, and Aleister Black debut right after that. But that gets us in right to our next segment.
He's gonna puke!
And it's Let's Book It. Let's book Malakai Black in All Elite Wrestling. So it's a new segment we got on the show. Let's get right into this. Now, I'm going to go a couple ways with this. Malakai Black, a.k.a. Aleister Black. He's here. Maybe he didn't get a 90-day compete. Now I'm going to go behind the scenes a little bit. He maybe get a 90-day compete because in exchange for Zelina Vega coming back to WWE, they got rid of his 90-day complete. Or put the tinfoil hat on. Conspiracy theory right here for you guys.
Let's go.
They're actually working together, All Elite Wrestling and WWE in this aspect. Let's get this guy off of television, right? We'll release him. You guys can have him for a bit. That's why he doesn't have a 90-day compete clause in his contract. Build him up a little bit. When he comes back, he'll be a bigger star in WWE. That's the way I'm booking it right there. But in the meantime, and in between time, he's going to take on Cody, defeat Cody in a series of matches, probably have an all-out match against Cody, most likely. And if I'm wrong about the conspiracy theory, then he'll probably just like how disappears for a little bit and then comes back and disappears and comes back. Typical AEW status. If you're not the elite, then you're not there all the time. But I think that's what it is. I think I'm going to put the tinfoil hat on a conspiracy theory, the living hell out of this one, and say that they are working together in the type of talent exchange type of thing. Like, we'll let you guys have him for a little bit, build him up, get the little indie guys, the hardcore fans talking about Aleister Black again, Malakai Black, and he'll come back and we'll have him back in WWE. But what do I know? I just booked it. Let me get your booking.
Well, that's an interesting book. That's way different than where I was going. That was quite the conspiracy theory. We're going to have a lot of people upset about this. That'd be interesting if we're doing the old... It's happened before. There is precedent for this. It's happened in ECW, WWE, where Paul Heyman and Vince were working together, sending guys over, blah, blah, blah. I was going to go more on the aspect of maybe he's AEW's Undertaker. And now take that with a grain of salt. I'm just saying not that he's going to go run 20 years, 25-year, 30-year career. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying the supernatural feel. The guy that can go in there and be the one with the magic powers and turning off lights and starting smoke and the whole face thing, whatever the hell that all means. I mean, I think it could be something cool like that. I know Darby has a little dark stuff, but there's no supernatural stuff. Maybe this is where we get that pageantry, that craziness, that stuff where you gotta like, suspend disbelief because some of it's nonsense and some of it's ridiculous. But it worked, and Taker made it work. Can Aleister Black make it work? I don't know. Bray Wyatt makes it work. Maybe he can make it work. Let's see what happens. I think that's the way to book Aleister Black, or whatever the hell we're calling him, Malakai Black, Tommy N. You shouldn't have told him our name because it's a surprise. Like, Excalibur, what are you doing? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, but whatever. It was what it was. But I think that's where I want to book this. That's why I'm booking it. Tell me what you think. I think he should be the supernatural character that AEW needs. Yes, I said needs.
And there you go, and we just booked it.
He's gonna puke!
All right, so let's get into the next thing on the show, which was interesting. You had guests, special guests on the outside. You had Dan Lambert, the head of American Top Team, the mixed martial arts, academy and group and team, along with Jorge Masvidal and Amanda Nunes out there.
Big time. There's no joke. Those are small-time UFC fighters.
There's big-time stars right here. So Dan Lambert is in the ring. He starts talking trash about AEW, talking about how he loves old-school wrestling. It's better, and wrestling's gone downhill since the late 1990s. He comes out, he starts talking trash about AEW. And he gets interrupted by the Murdoch Monster, Lance Archer, who just beats his ass down and just drops him.
But I know where he's going. He's going for a ride on the blackout. Courtesy of Lance Archer.
Drops him completely. So shout out to Dan Lambert for taking the bump. But the thing is, like, this is whatever's, right? It's just, I guess, maybe hyping up the Dustin Poirier kind of regular match this Saturday because Poirier is part of American Top Team. Yeah, it's American Top Team. So the funny thing about this is, like, after he takes that bump Lambert does from Murdoch Monster, it's just kind of like Amanda Nunes kind of smiling in the crowd. So it's like it takes you out of it.
Yeah, just like,
it takes you out of it. So I'm not a huge fan of this stuff. So it is what it is. But it's a
shout out to Lambert. That was actually like a decent promo. Like, some of the guys that really can't cut promos like that. That was like a long kind of, stuff made sense. He got his point across. I was like, this guy's cutting a decent manager promo. I mean, book him, get him a job. Let's make him a manager. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. But then this leads to the next thing on the show, which was the street fight for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. You had the Young Bucks, the champions, taking on Eddie Kingston and Penta El Cero Miedo because Eddie Kingston takes the spot of Pac. So it's what it is. Whatever. So they had a crazy match, hardcore, thumbtacks, all stuff like that. I do like the ending when they put the thumbtacks in the mouth of Kingston. He super kicked into his mouth, so that's a good solid spot. In the end, the Bucks get the win. So it is what it is. I mean, the Bucks got the heel over the heel heat over the baby faces to end the show. kind of happens every single week. I mean, it's kind of like run-of-the-mill type of stuff. They get the heat on them, the heel heat on the baby faces, and that's pretty much it. When are they going to get their comeuppance at some point? What's the team that's going to give them their comeuppance? It will be a team of Frankie Kazarian and somebody else because he is the elite hunter. I don't know. I really honestly don't know. What tag team out there has been built to be the team that gets the comeuppance babyface team on the Young Bucks? None whatsoever. Similar to what's going on in WWE, how nobody's a babyface up there with the likes of Roman Reigns or a Bobby Lashley that seems viable to take the title off of them. So we have the same thing here. Where's the babyfaces that seem viable to dethrone the Bucks and give the comeuppance that's so much deserved to the heel Bucks that have been getting heat on every single babyface tag team for the past few months, basically?
Yeah, I mean, the question is, the answer is there isn't any. Not at the moment right now. I feel bad for I would say Kofi Kingston, Eddie Kingston. Just the fact that he hasn't been able to beat the Elite at all. He hasn't had any wins. He hasn't had no luck. Whoever has been his partner. This match was good. It was fun. It was AEW hardcore style. Jorts included. Everything was included. Wish we would have kept the Fu Manchus, kept the Kenny Omega look on, but whatever. I guess only one man can have the Fu Manchu on AEW. But good match, solid stuff. Again, where's it going to go to? Who's going to be the team to dethrone the Bucks? Who are they going to build? Who are the what's the rivalry that's going to bring up the next tag team in AEW to just have another tag team that's at the same level or somewhere near the same level as the Bucks? Yep. There's not really a team in sight. There's a lot of teams. There just isn't one anywhere in their stratosphere. They're not even in the ballpark right now. They're at least 2 ballparks away right now in. Can they take the belts from these 2 guys? And again, they are the greatest tag team in the world. I mean, they just are. Let's be serious. I mean, there's no better tag team than say what you will about their style or whatever, but they're the best known tag team in the world. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's heels win again. That's WWE booking, but hey, it's we're getting AEW. It's all right. It's all right. Well, it'll mean that much more when somebody beats them, I guess.
Yeah, so we had a big show here. I mean, and a lot going on for a big show that will return to fans. We'll have Fyter Fest next week, Fyter Fest Night 1, then Fyter Fest Night 2 the week after that. But guys, that's a review and reaction for tonight's AEW Dynamite, The Road Rager, live from Miami, Florida. Traveling Circus back on the road. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let us know in the comment section below what do you think about the highlight of the night segment, and what do you think about Let's Book It segment. Do you agree with us? Do you like the segments? Let us know in the comment section below. Really do appreciate it. Make sure you drop a like on this video. Helps up the YouTube algorithm. Hit the chair in the corner. Sub to the channel before it hits you first. Without further ado, if it doesn't work for you, brother, do not do the job.
So good to see 20,000 marks in an arena. Later, Marks.